Do you say back heel? Do you say brought to you by two cans and some string?
Brought to you by two cans and some string. That's pretty good.
That would be the great name for a media company, actually.
Two cans and some string. That's a little long, don't you think?
No, you call it 2CS.
But then you're cheating, and it's not
No,
really.
but you think about it, that's no worse than you see some of these production companies on movies and TV shows and stuff like that.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like, why would you have the long name? You're just going to shorten it. Like, what's the point? Like, why not just be 2CS? And then it says, what does that stand for? And then you get to say two cans and some string.
Okay, I guess if you don't want to be as on point, I guess that's all right.
I don't know. It's a little bit on the nose. We are live here on a Sunday. Things are all over the place here on my end of things because tomorrow is a big day for me personally, for Trevor Haywood, did I say Haywood?
I think you said Haywood.
I meant Hayward. I'm flustered. I think I'm sweating now because I've got some technical stuff that's all over the place right now, and that's because of what's happening tomorrow. And I don't want to make this all about me.
Is tonight's show a distraction for you?
No, it's not that. It's just that the system. This is so behind the scenes. This is so inside baseball. Nobody cares about this. But the setup here gets tweaked when I get ready for the Sirius satellite show, which starts again tomorrow. So we've done some.
I think you treat this as an opportunity to increase your social media awareness of the show. You take some pictures of what you're talking about, throw it out there, Instagram while we're doing the show, all that kind of stuff. You know, I think that's what the kids do these days.
Is that what they do these days?
I don't know what kids do these days. If you could judge by my kids, all they do is play Kindle all day long and get mad when you take it away from them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so tomorrow's a big day. We start the soccer morning on Sirius XM FC, and I'm getting some settings, and the settings all mixed up, and I forgot to get them back. So things are a little messed up right now. So we could either start over, like I could fix the settings and we could start over. This is so bad. This is so unprofessional right now. Like, should I do that or should we just?
Because technically, right now you're not recording the show.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Again, inside baseball. Technically, I am recording the show, but it's only getting me. It's not getting you.
Oh, so this is the show you've always wanted, basically.
That's what I want. A show where I sound like I'm talking to myself for an hour. That's exactly what.
That's what you have.
No, we will have a recorded version of this show. It might not be up to our usual high quality standards, so I apologize for that. But
by the way, you want to know how business I am?
How business are you? From
3,000 miles away through an internet webcam, I can tell that in your hand is a Pilot G2 .07 or .05? .05.
Yeah, that says 05 on it. What do you?
I know my pins, sir. I live in the business world.
Why do you know your pins?
That's my pin of choice. The .07 is my pin of choice. I have them always on me.
See, this sounds like to me like a lesson for the youth of America, and I'm not denigrating the hard work you've done to reach the status you have achieved, Mr. DuBois. But if you're 38 years old and the thing that you can identify a pin on a webcam from across that's
okay. I'm pretty sure that if I held a beer up, Trevor would be able to identify that beer at a glance. Why is that any better than me identifying a pin?
Because beer is fun and tastes.
One of them ruins lives.
Well, if you partake too much of them, yes, of course.
Trevor asking, have pins gotten you laid? Yeah, you know what? The money I make with pins can get me laid.
Ooh, there you go. Actually, you talking about beer kind of brings me to something I wanted to touch on before we get into MLS and some of the other stuff that's come up this weekend. I went to a party last night for the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight. It was kind of it's like started at 6 because the Kentucky Derby was being run and there was a band. This band was awesome, by the way. They were a 3-piece band, no vocalists, played like Dick Dale surf
music, huh? Like the Ventures and stuff like that.
Fantastic. But I turned on so the Derby was over and I flipped over to DC United in Columbus who were playing last night at RFK Stadium. And there's this guy at the party, and I swear on if you saw this guy, the first thing you'd think is that Jimmy Conrad's twin. Like the guy is.
Did you get a picture with him?
I didn't. I forgot to do this. Like I first and second of all, how do you know?
Technically, I'm the closest thing you know to a Jimmy Conrad twin.
Because of what exactly?
Born on the exact same day, a couple miles away from each other. Until you find photographic evidence otherwise, I'm the closest thing you have for Jimmy Conrad.
There's a difference between doppelganger and like you guys sharing some sort of cosmic connection because of your birth date and location. Like this is more like the guy just looks, if not a dead ringer for Jimmy Conrad, close enough that like if they went out, people would say, oh, you guys are brothers. Like that's how close they are. And
like me and Jim Carrey.
And I actually did mention this to him, but then failed to get the picture. I just think that that's awkward.
Wait, you went up to a random dude and said, like, hey, you look like this soccer guy. You don't know who it is.
No. What happened was I turned on the DC United Columbus game, and I'm watching it a little bit, and he kind of came up behind me. He said, oh, yeah. He said, oh, this is a win because it was like the 86th minute. And he said that new stadium is going to be great. Like, it's going to be a big game changer for United.
Well, that's pretty good. He actually knew that there was a stadium going in.
The guy's a fan. But then this is what happens. I think this happens to a lot of people in a lot of soccer situations. So you're in a random party. I didn't know any. I knew like two people. I knew the host and a couple other people. So I hadn't met this guy before. But you do the small talk thing with somebody, and somehow you get to soccer, which in and of itself is fairly rare. But
but the difference between you and I is I try to get it there. That way I have something I know I can talk about.
Obviously, I did get it there by putting the game on and then saying, oh, yeah, cover this sport or whatever.
By the way, tune into Sirius XM on Monday. We better hope this doesn't happen tomorrow. Jason Davis is stalled out, ladies and gentlemen. While we get him back in the line, we will break real quickly.
You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. Best Soccer Show, backheel.com. Jason Davis, Jared DuBois. Deja vu happening all over again.
It's like Easter came 2 weeks late.
Is that what it is? We are here. We are live. It is Sunday night, so we've got a lot of soccer to talk about. Jared's over there with pins on his mind. That's a different story for a different day. Jared, this was a lot of sports this weekend. We had a lot of soccer. We're gonna don't
sugarcoat it. Let's give the people what they for the 10 people out there who are listening to the live show. This is attempt number 2. We had a connection issue and Jason had a setup issue, so we're going for the second time around here.
I actually thought it would be funnier not to reference it whatsoever. We just power through and act like it never happened because it was.
No, because I need some kind of reference that I nailed a pin from across the country.
Yeah, right. So I'm holding a pen, and in the first take, we've never done that, by the way. We've never had multiple takes of the show.
I don't think we have.
Jared saw me holding a pen. I wasn't even holding it up. It was just below it was like right here. And I was like doing this, and he said, "That's a Pilot G2-05, whatever the hell this is. This is So the man
nailed it. Nailed it.
Pen. I went to a party this weekend. I went to a Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather watch party. $100 down the drain.
By the way, did they make you pay at all to go in? I heard a lot of people make people pay.
No, but I did bring a party warming. It wasn't a housewarming party, but I did bring I did contribute to the party. I brought a bottle of whiskey. Okay. But nobody. There was no paying. So and that's good because that was just a disastrously boring fight that we saw. But I before the fight, after the Kentucky Derby was run, and by the way, the Kentucky Derby has got to be the most broadcast time for the littlest action in television.
It's pretty rough. And I didn't even know what was going on. I had no idea the Kentucky Derby was even going on yesterday until I saw someone talking about mint juleps, and I knew that only happens once a year.
Absolutely. It's big hats and mint juleps. So after the Derby was over, I flipped over to DC United Columbus Crew happening at RFK. There wasn't anybody watching the TV. Everybody was outside. There was a band. There was people.
Wait, so there's a band. There's people outside, and you're like, I'm gonna plop myself down and watch the MLS game.
Hey, it's my job. I wanted to check in and see what was going on in DC United.
Your job is to be the best single man you can.
Okay, well, I'm failing at that right now, but we'll move along. So I flip on the game, and this guy comes up behind me, and I swear the guy's a dead ringer for Jimmy Conrad. And you have a connection to Jimmy Conrad because you guys are both Inland Empire guys born on the same day.
He's not going to claim Inland Empire. He's somewhere up in the Pasadena. I think he was born up at in the Arcadia range or something like that. Trust me, that's an insult for him. I'm
getting Jimmy Conrad confused with Carlos Bocanegra, obviously Landon Donovan.
Yeah, they're from out my neck of woods.
They are from out where you are. But and I think what's her name? Oh my God, why am I blanking on? Alex Morgan is from basically.
Yeah, she's like Laverne. She's right on the borderline. She's from the same city as Ben Hooper from Bumpy Pitch is from.
Diamond Bar, California.
Diamond Bar, Laverne. Yeah, sorry, not Laverne. Diamond Bar. I'm sorry, Diamond Bar.
Yeah. So you have a connection with Jimmy Conrad. I did not get a picture. It is an ultimate failing. I should have gotten a picture. And I was talking to this guy, and first of all, how awkward would that be? Like, hey, you look like this soccer guy. You should take a picture with me so I can prove that you look exactly like this soccer guy. But we started talking.
It would be that. It's not bad because Jimmy's a good-looking guy. If you told him he looked like some tore-up dude, I mean, then they're like, "Hey, take a look. Do you look like this guy?
You look like the most handsome man in the world, Jimmy Conrad.
You look like Joe Latruglio."
Hey man, I bet he does pretty well.
He does.
So it turns out he's a soccer fan because he saw the game on. He said, "Oh, this is a win." It was like 86 minute, and United was up 2-0. Big win for DC United, by the way. And he said that stadium is going to change everything for DC United. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great.
I said, it's amazing that you found another person just randomly that knew where the stadium was going on, existed, and
I think this is again we're kind of in this. At least maybe it's because of our age, or maybe, I don't know if this happens to you. I mean, soccer is a big thing in LA, but there's all those various layers of it. There's obviously there's the Mexican American community that maybe doesn't care about MLS, but is certainly huge into soccer. There's the national team fans. There's the MLS fans. There's the Premier League fans. I mean, people in LA are committed when they get up at 4:00 in the morning to watch.
Oh, you could throw a rock and find an America or a Chivas fan, but to find someone that may know that LAFC is going to be a thing would be rough.
Yes, right, exactly. But so this guy, mentions the stadium. I'm like, oh, cool, he's a soccer fan. We have this conversation, and tell me if I'm wrong. This is what happens too often. This is the frustrating thing, and I told this guy, I'm not going to preach to you. I'm not going to convince you. But what do you think he said when he's?
I know this one. Ask the question. Watch EPL
for being a Liverpool fan, which I found very odd. Like he goes, yeah, I don't know why. Like I think this is that shame that comes from not having an actual connection to the club. Mm-hmm. Like your grandpa isn't from Liverpool, and you've never actually been, and there's no reason for you to root for them, but you saw them on television once, and he goes, yeah, I don't really know why, but I decided to be a Liverpool fan. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, whatever, man.
I think I equated to all the people last night on Twitter that were like, I scored the fight, blah, 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 to blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, guy, really? Really? You're really a boxing fan, or were you a boxing fan tonight?
Exactly, right. I think Floyd won that round. He's a little bit more active than Manny. Did you see how many shots he landed with that right hook?
It's not about how many shots you take. It's about how many you land, and it's about the movement, And how did he have ring control? Did he have ring control?
Yeah, right. Ring control. That'd be a good name for a band. So I don't know. It was just one of those party conversations, small talk conversations there was some soccer involved. I'm glad that there was soccer.
By the way, I had this revelation last night. I did not watch the fight. I chose to actually go participate in soccer and went to the Galaxy game instead. I took the wife and the kids out. And as I'm driving back, though, I'm thinking about this. And boxing is absolutely boring to me. Like, I just can't remember last time I enjoyed watching boxing. And I started to think to myself, is this soccer in a different context where other people feel about it, where do I just not understand boxing? Do I not appreciate the subtlety, the subtle artistry that's going on? And so therefore I consider it boring. Like, I feel that's the way soccer is reflected onto me. Whereas they just don't get it. And they can't understand the subtlety of controlling the passes. Like, we talk about ring control. I don't even know if that's a real thing. I just said it, but is that the same thing as talking about possession? There's nothing really, really exciting about possession, but if you understand how hard it is to maintain,
right,
then you start to appreciate it.
I think so. And there's even some more parallels because obviously anybody can appreciate a knockout. Anybody can appreciate that big punch that comes out of nowhere, stuns a guy, puts him on the mat, whatever.
But that rationale is a decision, a 0-0 tie or a tie, and people feel like they've totally wasted their time after having a tie.
If there's a bout that goes to the cards and there's been no knockdowns like in that Manny Floyd fight, then I think it's a little bit like that. And like I said, the knockout is the thing that everybody can get on board with. If you showed a non-soccer fan what Clint Dempsey did tonight, I think they're going to be like, "Wow, that's really great! I love that." But there's still there's 85 minutes of passing the ball around or looking for space, and I think people have to come to an understanding about a particular sport on their own time. They have to find a reason to do that. Remember how big golf was when Tiger Woods was winning everything?
Yeah,
is golf exciting in any sense? Is it exciting? I mean, I played golf.
It was exciting because something different was happening. There was a guy out there that was like bigger than the sport and took it mainstream and had a lot of stuff going around it. And it's always interesting to watch someone that is at the absolute height of their game. I think anyone in the world that's not a soccer fan can watch Messi and appreciate what he does.
And I think part of it too is that the easier it is to appreciate how hard the sport is, the easier it is for a new convert or somebody who doesn't like the sport to appreciate it or to come to it. Soccer, I think, makes it more difficult. I mean, the guys aren't out there doing heel flicks and sombreros every time they have the ball. But the difficulty is, as you said, passing the ball, possessing the ball, finding that space, reading the game. Like, reading the game is the key to soccer. If you have a guy in midfield who can read the game, see 4 steps ahead, and put the ball, Sergio Aguero's goal today, perfect pass on a diagonal run, you and I appreciate that. And people who watch highlights go, that's really good, but they don't appreciate the 30 times they tried it and it didn't come off. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a tough thing to. I can appreciate the thought behind it, And for example, there's another time I was telling my wife just that when we were watching the Clint Dempsey heel pass to Obafemi Martins for the second goal in the Seattle's game. That was fantastic, and I was telling her you don't know. What you may not understand is it's easy to understand the heel part of that pass and why that's impressive. The other part that's really hard to understand is the trust factor and knowing that the other guy you're not even looking at is making that run. Because I'll play indoor and I can tell you I've tried that pass a million times. It's not that my pass didn't come off. I didn't have a guy committed to making the run into that space and that timing.
Right, exactly. It's the understanding. It's the knowledge. It's that Dempsey, when that ball is coming to him, has already thought through, or in that split second, he's making that decision. I'm going to play this ball
because there should be someone there.
Well, but he knows, like you said, he knows Martins is going to make that run.
Yeah.
Now, Clint Dempsey's tried a lot of heel passes that haven't come off, and that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be trying them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's obviously it's a matter of that understanding in that moment. That's what's great about soccer. The other thing I always tell people about soccer who don't get it is that I don't think there's anything else in sports. I'm biased, obviously, but I don't think there's anything else in sports like a goal in soccer because it's so out of the blue. Typically, it's not. I don't know. Obviously a player can hit a home run. That's exciting. A guy can score a touchdown, but there's not. You don't get the same anticipation, which I think makes it even better. All of a sudden,
you're saying the anticipation makes it better.
No, I'm saying that soccer has this completely visceral boom reaction. Like in that moment, goal, all of a sudden, you didn't even see it coming.
Oh, yeah, there's no worse feeling in the world than going to get a beer and hearing the crowd erupt behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't, I mean, again, a long touchdown pass, the ball's in the air for 3 seconds. You know that the guy's, if he catches it, touchdown. Or if a guy catches the ball and starts running, you have those 6 seconds he's got to run to the end zone. That's going to be a touchdown. Hooray. Baseball's a little bit like this with home runs, but then you still know, okay, there's a guy on base and here's a pitch.
No, I think the only thing that comes close to it, I mean, there's other. I think hockey and basketball have a similar thing in soccer in terms of what we were talking about. That timing, the trust that your other players there, that the movement has to be there. And I think there's something really pretty, like in watching the Seattle build up to that goal where Dempsey has the heel flick. I don't know how many passes it was. It's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 15. But when it's done right, that passing mixture, and I said this one on Twitter a few weeks ago, and I think you retweeted it. But so you know what I'm talking about when I say this. When that little 3-4 man triangle system is done right, it's like a Harlem Globetrotter weave. That move they do when the Harlem Globetrotters do it. And I know that's calculated and it's fake and everything like that, but that same type of movement where it's routine and it's just almost hypnotic. You start lulling yourself, and that's what happens coming out of that. Either load. You don't see Ebufemi Martin's doing the thing that hasn't been happening those last 10 movements. He makes his run into the box, Dempsey reads it, and there's your goal. It's something really pretty about that. I think basketball and hockey are maybe the only other things that really kind of have that.
I think hockey can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Did you see Teal Bunbury's goal? Great.
Another great team goal.
Absolutely great team goal from the Revolution. We're going to get into all of that. The phone lines are open, 347-756-6276. Sorry for the aborted start. Sorry for running late, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, for the people that are live, they got to hear the other part, so sorry for that.
What do you think? I love doing this. What do you think is on the mind of the American soccer fan on a Sunday night? We've gotten through 2 games today. We had a bunch of MLS matches. We got a rules dump. The 2015 roster rules finally.
I'll tell you right now, I did not read that. I should have. I saw it out there. I was like, oh, I just don't have time for this. It's gotten to the point where, like, I know if I open up that message, if I click on that link, I'm gonna be angry in 10 minutes.
Well, okay. Here's the biggest takeaway, I think, for a lot of people is that they've created a process where the Jermaine Jones blind draw thing can't happen anymore.
Oh, convenient. Now that it's already happened, they got what they wanted. See, angry. I'm already angry.
Okay, well, so they've taken that blind draw process, which again only happened one time. They've taken the allocation process and something else. And they've jammed all this stuff together. And discovery lists have changed. I mean, I'm sort of with you. Like, my eyes start to glaze over. And this is the bad thing about MLS. And this is the part that's sometimes it's hard to sell MLS, because even if the play is pretty good sometimes, even if you can point to it and say, hey, look how great these atmospheres are, and the league is growing, and we've got players like Kaká, and David Villa never plays anymore.
I'll give you a perfect example of that, Jason. I'm watching the game with my wife just now, and so for 30 seconds, I don't know why, but for some reason she was interested in asking a question about soccer and the game going on. This never happens, right? It's like seeing a unicorn. So she goes, okay, so New York's got a new team. Yeah, baby's got a new team. They're brand new. And she's like, so they must have a lot of money then. So they buy a bunch of big name players? Okay, so now this isn't just a simple answer, right? Now this goes into and I saw her glaze. I saw her glaze the way you and I are talking about glazing. It's just the simple answer was yes, but it's not the complete answer. I had to tell her about, they brought this one guy in, and he was okay. Well, let me back up. New York's owned by this other team, and then he was playing pretty good. And they decided not to bring him, and all this other stuff, and so they had to get this other guy, this American, to kind of fill the same shoes for a while. It was a terrible conversation. If I could have just said, yeah, these 2 guys on the field right here, these are the big name guys you should watch.
Yeah,
I may have actually been able to keep her interested in something I'm interested in.
Well, I mean, okay, your wife's coming from a place of, you have to explain the context because she doesn't have a grasp on the context. But even for people who are soccer fans and know who Manchester City is, and and have an understanding of what they can do, and then certainly the MLS factor, at least the structure of the league, a basic idea. Even for them, it's yeah, okay.
See, for your guy that was at the party, I would love to ask him the question of, hey, what do you think about the Lampard stuff? What's his context for that? Is MLS getting done dirty? But right. What I believe he'd probably say is, well, why wouldn't he stay in England? That's where it's playing. That's where the better play is.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's the two differences and it's maybe not even fair at this point to call Euro snob. Listen, that's just what he likes. That's just what he likes. I'm an Ameri snob. I can't stand watching EPL every morning. Like, I'm literally up at 6 in the morning and I choose not to put it on because it just doesn't interest me.
Okay. That's, yeah. And I guess that the question then is, and the thing that people have been looking for is how to bridge that gap, but I don't even know that it's necessarily something we should be doing.
Get me Americans in the EPL, then I'll watch it. Honestly, I used to watch plenty of games when there were Americans playing in it.
For you, but I mean, that's for you to watch EPL. But what about the guy that I met who's a Liverpool fan, doesn't pay much attention to? Now,
you should have asked him if he would watch LA Galaxy games this summer.
Well, I think that the stadium thing will get him interested, because I think that again, these are situation dependent things. Like, for DC United, one of the biggest problems is the fact they play in that dump of a stadium. They play good soccer. They're playing good soccer right now.
But this guy is the exact reason why the people that have been targeted to come to MLS are David Beckham, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Thierry Henry. In that, you have Robbie Keane even. You have the top 5 English Premier League clubs and the iconic people of the last 20 years that have played for those now in MLS. It's completely calculated. This is, and good on MLS for doing it, but are they actually converting this guy? It sounds like it's not.
Well, I got the sense that he does know, he knows some things, and I don't know that he watches games or makes it a point to watch games. But then we get into a discussion of what the league needs, whether it needs the diehard fans, which there's a good base of those already, or if they just need to add casual fans who might catch a game every now and then.
There's the flip side of that. Like, my partner on the corner of the Galaxy is here on Back Heel, Josh Guessman. He wasn't a Galaxy season ticket holder, wasn't going until 2007 when Beckham came. But so Beckham comes in, all of a sudden his awareness is up. He goes to games, and 8 years later, he has a podcast and website, all this stuff where he's generating content now, and he's like a diehard. He's bought in.
Yeah,
but those of us that were already here though look at that like, that's what it took.
Well, but see, that's the thing.
That's not fair.
We're not in a place. We can't judge. We can't. American soccer fans have got to stop judging.
I'm still the guy at the U2 show that's like, oh, but you didn't know we weren't listening to him when they put out Joshua Tree, even though I don't like U2 or anything like that. But I'm still like, there's something inside me that's like, no, this is my band. I'm the one that was here when they were playing small club shows. You're the guy that's here at the stadium show now. You don't really know.
Damn, dog, that's an approach.
That's so Jared that you used a band that's
listen, at least I'm honest. At least I'm honest about it.
All right, coming back to these rules in this roster rule situation, it says the allocation process is being consolidated into one system, combining the designated player allocation rankings, the weighted lottery, and the blind draw acquisition mechanism. So this is all from
those
soccer.
Are words that I'm already glazing. The words alone are like, really, it's fake speak.
Here's something interesting, maybe. Teams can offer $50,000 of allocation money to acquire a player that another team has already claimed.
Okay, now here's what I like about that. For the first time, and I can remember, there's actually a dollar figure associated with allocation money. The term allocation money never has any value attached to it. You hear allocation money going back and forth between teams, all this. You never know what it actually means in terms of what it's costing the team or another team gets. So I kind of dig it then, but it's still kind of, the whole discovery thing is dumb because people aren't using this to discover talent in their own country or a small unnamed guy down in Colombia. Teams are throwing discovery claims on Cristiano Ronaldo. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The discovery list will remain private. Let's see. The new system includes a public allocation player ranking list picked by MLS club technical staffs. I mean, again, we're just adding layer upon layer of just like I don't.
Every time this happens, it's harder and harder for me to explain the sport in the league to people I meet that might be interested. Our boy Dan Wurzmud has a great thing with free beer movement. Bring a guy to a game and give him a beer. But now bring a guy to a game, give him a beer, and then let's go through the rule book for a while so you can understand what's actually happening in this league.
Gio from San Antonio, what's up?
Hey guys, I was calling because I wanted to expand on something that Jared said a second ago. He was saying that analogy about YouTube. How he felt like, well, I listened to them before, whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I'm going to feel if and when San Antonio joins MLS.
Yeah.
I'm kind of dreading the idea of suddenly 12,000 more people in the stadium, and then me standing there who's been a supporter almost from the very beginning.
Yeah, dude. Some new guy's going to roll in with a personalized license plate that says SA till I die, and you're going to be like, what the hell, dude?
Exactly. Where were you when we needed you guys to help push us into MLS?
It's the whole be careful what you ask for thing, Gio. It's like you want it, but do you really want it?
Right. Well, okay. There are a couple of thoughts on this. One, it's completely valid to question that guy or girl who shows up late after the party's already been started. It just wasn't very popular yet. That's completely fair. But, again, I think Jared's got a point. You either have to decide that you're just going to be okay with this, the new fans on the block, the new people who join in, to glom on
kids on the block,
to glom on to this thing, or you're just going to have to, or I guess you could rail against growth. I mean, you could be one of those people like, I don't want my team to grow. I want us to always be little. I want this sport to always be niche and underground, which I don't get that argument because, I don't know, I just think it's more fun to watch things blow up and see more people care and have more conversations at parties and stuff like that. But I can kind of understand. It's just that, I hope that we don't have a generation of soccer fans who wake up in 20 years and go, man, that league totally sold out, dude. Like they were so good back in the day, and now look at them. They're like doing all this corporate stuff. Like, why? We don't need that.
It's tough.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I'll get over it. I know I will. I don't like that. I don't like the idea that I will eventually feel that way. It makes me wonder if there are many Orlando fans who are feeling that way right now. Now that they're in the big time.
Well,
back in USL, there were 3,000-4,000 people every week.
I think it's a little different in Orlando, only because that team was new to Orlando only a couple of years before. Yeah. And they basically, and I'm sorry, I'm not putting this on Orlando soccer fans. It's not their fault, but they essentially stole that team from Austin. So I mean, it's kind of the thing.
You said it.
I did, because I think it sucks. I do think it sucks. I mean, I'm happy to see Orlando excited and everything, but come on, it's not the way it should be. I mean, I think even Orlando soccer fans would say, I'm glad we have our team. I wish it hadn't happened with Phil Rollins deciding that Austin's not good enough for us. We got to go to Orlando. Like, that's just not cool. Yeah. Anything else, Gio?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, man.
Thanks for taking my call.
He said,
I love that call though.
He said, I'll get over it. I know I will. And my head went back to this bad 90s song. You remember King of Wishful Thinking? Do you remember that song?
No, what is that?
I have to pull that up some point. I'll tweet it out. It's just this bad, like...
But you know what? Your 90s, like, hip-hop knowledge is way better than mine.
No. This is completely adult contemporary type stuff.
Like really?
This is like mom rock.
We're talking like Bolton?
Yeah, it's in that vein. It's very much in that vein.
Like Richard Marx. See, I'm surprised because I grew up. My parents listened to that stuff all the time.
It's got a Wilson Phillips vibe to it, but it's a guy.
Hold on for one more day, why don't you?
Something like that. All right, 347-756-6276. We don't have to do.
Maybe I would know it if I heard it like in lyrical context. Why don't you sing it for me?
No, I'm not singing it for you.
Come on, if you're serious about the show, you do it.
No, I'm not going to sing it for you. Maybe I can pull it up here while we move along. Should we got to hit MLS. I mean, my clock's all off because of our...
Yeah, we got to hit MLS because, I mean, a dude's got a Z in his fro, for God's sakes.
Yeah, well, okay, so you want to...
A guy you're going to have on XM Sirius tomorrow morning, by the way, Benny Feilhaber.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna talk hair, right?
I'm going to have to ask him about the hair. And Benny has had, this is one of the reasons I love soccer. I mean, it's a very small reason, but it's, throw it on the pile. Soccer players are the most expressive athletes out there, don't you think? Like maybe X Games guys, but beyond that, it's got to be soccer players. Baseball players, they're wearing helmets and hats. You can't really do a whole lot.
There was the Boz back in the day. The Boz had some stuff going on.
One guy is a weird
Rodman.
dude.
You're right. And Rodman was the one guy that was kind of doing that stuff. And
there's like Birdman and the guy. I'm
going to give you a movie quote. And let's see how good you are. Okay, I'm going to give you an apropos movie quote regarding Benny Feilhaber. Let's see if you can nail it.
All right.
You're too pretty to play basketball. You know that? You got a Z in your fro. Hey man, what are you? The Black Zorro?
That would be White Man Can't Jump.
That is correct, sir.
There we go. Here, do you want to just a smidgen of this song just so you can know what I'm referencing?
Yes, I want to know.
Last year.
All right, hold on. I got to get through the ad.
Whatever
Let me mute that. They're getting free advertising on our show, guys. All right, here we go.
Free advertising on our show. Just send us a shirt. We'll wear it. Jeez.
All right, hold on.
By the way, your office there looks like an episode of Hoarders.
My office does? Is it that bad? Because of the scars? No, I mean
I'm just jealous because you get all sorts of free stuff and like. Do you see
me.
anything behind me?
See, listen to this. Listen to this right here. Like the intro is already.
Oh, it's like Tiffany. Where's the lyrics?
You don't remember this?
I don't think I know this, dude.
No.
Why don't they don't make anything like this anymore?
You know what? And here's the thing. Maybe it's because I'm old. Maybe it's because I'm a dad. Maybe because I'm white. I dig it. I'm sorry. I do. I don't know why. I dig it.
I think it was the last one. Maybe because I'm white.
It's happy. I mean,
I do not know this song, Jason Davis, and this is like just from the sound of it. I feel like it speaks to something so white inside me. And it makes me want to just kind of go sway back and forth slowly.
It's got a little. I mean, it's a little peppier. It's a little more pop, but it's got some.
It's totally got montage flavor. That's like a '90s rom-com, like montage kind of flavor to it, right there. Like that's a guy and a girl drinking from a milkshake with like two straws, kind of stuff.
And I think "Go West" is one of the big one-hit wonders of the '90s with this song. I bet you this song was in the top 10 when it came out. I bet you it was up there.
Okay, Trevor, go do some research. This has to have been in a soundtrack to a movie. It is too spot on not to be in a movie.
It's absolutely in a soundtrack to a movie. I just can't remember what movie it is, but we'll find that out.
And I bet you I've seen the movie, and that's what's going to connect it for me.
You know, I think this might be, this might apply to some soccer fans in this country with their teams and the way that they're playing right now. I can
see this song being like from the movie One Crazy Summer.
Okay, I don't know that movie. What
movie?
You
know that movie. That's the one where John Cusack has to shoot the ball through the top of the sailboat to make it as Bobcat Goldthwait, Demi Moore.
Yeah. Okay, but it was not an '80s movie, or was that like?
It might have been '80s, yeah, but it's still the right feel for that song.
Yeah, no, it definitely has the vibe. Pretty Woman. It was in Pretty Woman, apparently. Okay, so
was it?
Yeah, yeah. It was a British band, and the song was 1992. So there you go.
Okay, and I'm a whore for Pretty Woman, and no pun intended. But
watch this amazing segue. Who right now in MLS? Which fan base has to be the kings of wishful thinking when it comes to their teams and their prospects right now?
Portland.
Yeah, you gotta hope. You gotta hold on.
It's just because it's so separate from each other in terms of what they're giving to the team and what they're getting paid back in return.
I know, and again, like every time I bring up the possibility that Caleb Porter, not that he should be fired, but that there should be pressure on him, or that there should be real concern about whether or not his direction is the right direction, people laugh at me, people scoff, and I'm thinking, with that fan base and those expectations, how could you not think maybe Caleb Porter's not our guy? Like, you don't want to become a turnstile, but maybe Caleb Porter's not our guy.
That's rough for me to think, man. Because I mean, I was a Caleb Porter fan. Even back from the under 23s. I'm an apologist for that. I thought I thought he was a good coach even at the under 23 level. And
Trevor's saying that if Nagby doesn't shake the penalty, that Portland wins that game. Okay, but does that reflect well on where Portland sits right now? And Vancouver's a pretty good team. That's like no slide against the Whitecaps. I mean,
how much slack? How much length of rope does Porter get for Larry not being in this team to start the season?
That's a good question. 407, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, this is Ahmed from Orlando. How's it going, guys?
What's going on, Ahmed? Were you an original adopter when the team came to town?
See, look, you talked about Orlando. They're already calling you.
I know.
Take a holder ever since.
Okay, so you showed up with the first day of USL play.
Yeah, I actually remember going to Philadelphia Union. It was February 18th. The nice February 9th.
Let him have it, Ahmed. Let him have it.
What?
No, but I agree. No, I agree with Jason's statement, though. I mean, the way the Aztecs came over, we were glad that Phil chose a new market because, originally we weren't watching USL Pro in Orlando. We were like, just casual, MLS fans and USA soccer fans. So when the club came and then we all just pretty much just adopted the club, changed the colors, everything. We had a few players that were from Austin, and at the time we had like Jamie Watson, a few other, now they're club legends now. So it was good days though.
Well, how are you feeling right now, considering Kevin Molino is out for the year with an ACL injury suffered in a friendly?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to call about originally. It's tough, man, because he's really in the beginning of the season, him and Kakai were really starting to get that nice chemistry going in the club. So we're gonna miss him. I mean, it looks like Breck Shea might be now in that left wing, moving up, and then we have Bowden, who came up with us from USL, is probably gonna go into the left back role, and they're thinking about probably like Avila or someone like that going into the right.
I like me some Avila. I'm not going to lie. I'm a believer in Eric Avila.
I don't want to go on this. I don't want to go on the mid-season friendly rant, especially when you're playing guys like Kevin Molino, who's obviously started every game for Orlando this year and has become an important part of that team.
I think it's their first signing as an MLS team too.
He was a carryover. He played he played on the USL team. I mean, this is a guy.
Yeah, he was one of our first signings.
Yeah, this is a guy whose story is great for that very reason, and you want to root for him to do well, and then boom, like this. And again, not in a competitive MLS match, in a stupid friendly, and I don't know what the team's getting out of it, and maybe there's some benefit I'm missing here. But you know, obviously,
the friendly was announced like 2 weeks ago too, so even season ticket holders weren't having enough time to call out of work and all of that. So last night there was probably like around 10 to 12,000 supporters instead of being like the normal 30 plus.
Hey, this is the nature of MLS. If you want your team to have money and buy players, you're gonna have to play in friendlies. I just kind of the way it is. It's how the team makes money. And listen, it could have happened anywhere, anytime against any team. I mean, it sucks against a friendly, and then it becomes a talking point. Yeah, but is it any different than Caleb? I mean, not Caleb Porter. The Porter up in Montreal. Why am I blanking on his first name?
Cameron Porter. It's the guy, people blow ACLs. It's unfortunate. But when it happens in something like this, it brings up a whole narrative that people want to talk about. I'm not really sure it's apropos. You should more be asking yourself if over the stretch of these friendlies you're not getting results because your teams are tired. I think that's a more on point topic of discussion, because that's a true, I think, the thing that happens. He could have done this in practice too. No, this is true.
Funny thing is, we were all talking about it at the tailgates. Let's just hope we get through this match and no injuries, nothing go wrong, and hopefully we'll score some goals, because we've had issues up top. Last night looks like we're slowly starting to get the goals coming in, but we're gonna have to look at a striker perhaps and that right wing now.
Listen, I'm a fan of your team's style. I think what's more impressive is that they actually have a style in their first season, and I actually enjoy watching Orlando. I would put them. I can watch them before I watch NYCFC, before I can watch Colorado, before I can watch. Let's see who else. Probably Toronto for the most part. I mean, I think they're playing fairly decent ball out there. I wouldn't before Houston. Definitely, Houston puts me to sleep.
Okay.
I think you're right. A striker is what you need right now.
And I believe, in the beginning of the season, once I saw them in the preseason for the first couple of times, in close scrimmages and stuff when they played FC Dallas. We've had, when all of our players are healthy, we do play some really nice attacking football. We keep the possession. It's like a tiki-taka style, but just keeping the key pieces healthy, and hopefully we'll go on and we'll make the playoffs this season.
Ahmed, before we let you go, let me ask you one question. Something just popped in my head. You need a right midfielder. What would you think about a guy like Diego Fagundes, who's not getting playing time for New England Revolution, coming to Orlando? Is that the type of guy you'd like to see them go after?
Definitely. I mean, I was looking at. I wanted him in the expansion draft, all that stuff that happened where they put that disclaimer on him and no one could have got him. But I'd like to have someone like that.
What would you be willing to give up for him?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take probably a lot, though.
I don't think it'll take as much as you think it might, because he's just sitting on their bench right now.
That's El Salvadorian captain.
Okay. Well, I think it's something they could definitely look at. I mean, if it's a move I think it's at some point someone's going to make a move for that guy, because he's good enough to play. He may not be good enough to play for New England consistently.
That's good. I don't know where he's going to end. Thanks for the call, Ahmed. I appreciate it, man. I think it's interesting, and this is something I thought about, and I'll workshop this idea here with you, Jared, whether or not you think this could be true. And I don't know that it applies to Diego Fagundes, who has played well in this league, has value, could be a starter for most teams if he wasn't with New England Revolution. But for some younger guys, or for some depth players who might in other years be on the trading block, and I'm not saying that the MLS trading market is hot and heavy every season. It's not. But do you think that the USL partnership and having those reserve teams on the level that they're playing changes the trade market at all? Because now instead of, hey, we got this surplus guy who wants playing time and he doesn't have anywhere to go. Maybe he's 21, 22. He's not quite ready. We got somebody ahead of him. Instead of swapping him out for something, now you go, we'll have him go play some games at the USL level, get better there, and then, continue to bring him along.
Yeah, I think with a guy like Diego Fagundes, though, you bring him down to your second division, your third division, like backup team. I think that's going to kill his confidence. I think you're going to end up with an unhappy player. This is a guy that was one of the premier young players and getting quality minutes and quality results from his play 2 years ago. I think at this point, if you do that, you also wreck his trade value, I think, too. I think if anything, if New England's serious about keeping him, then yeah, go ahead and pursue that avenue and get his level up. But I think at this point, I mean, he's got Kellen Rowe ahead of him. He's got Teal Bunbury ahead of him. I think he's better. He's more value to traded.
Maybe, but is he okay? Here's a question on a slightly different tangent there. But is his value better as trade inside MLS or sale outside of MLS?
Man, I don't know what he's worth. The only place I think he'd be worth something more than MLS is maybe if he goes back to Uruguay, but I'm not sure they're going to be busting the big purse out for him. No. I think it's inside MLS.
Okay, fair enough. 347-756-6276. I got a couple. I mean, we already mentioned the Dempsey back heel.
Hey, before we move too far from Fagundes, do you mind if I do a quick pick your poison with you on this one?
Absolutely. That is your prerogative. You do. You are a host. You are one of the hosts of this show.
But I don't have the button where I push where it makes this nice, cool sound effect. So I do feel like I have to clear. It's like a traffic control. I got to clear airspace.
I wonder what it would be like if control.
Oh, it would be so much more fun. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to give you a couple names, okay? And I'm going to of right wingers currently starting for other teams in this league. And I want to get your feel, Jason Davis, on whether or not Diego Fagundes is better. Which, if you would take Diego Fagundes or the other player involved here.
All right.
Okay? So, Diego Fagundes or Baju Husidic.
See my eye twitching? That's my practical.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know what that was right there.
Practical streak right there. That eye twitch is about the whole thing about how I like my teams to be solid going forward and defending. And I think you obviously lose something on the defensive end with Diego Fagundes over Baju Husidic. Mm-hmm. And if I'm taking the two players completely out of the context of their teams, I'm going to go with Fagundes in that situation.
More upside, but you're right. But in terms of demonstrating a value on a nightly basis, and Husidic doesn't usually play right wing, but he did this weekend, so that's why I used it. Diego Fagundes or Luis Gil?
Luis Gil.
Okay. Diego Fagundes or, once again, another player that played right winger this weekend, but not necessarily one, Nick Labraca.
Diego Fagundes over Nick
Diego
Labraca.
Fagundes or Sana Niasi.
Diego Fagundes over Sana Niasi.
Yeah. So that's three starters right now that you would take Diego Fagundes over.
Uh-huh.
And okay, how about this? Diego Fagundes or Kevin Molino?
Wow. Based on performance this year, it's Kevin Molino, but that's not maybe fair to Diego Fagundes because he hasn't gotten on the field. I think it's also interesting to consider that Diego Fagundes is, he has some flexibility. He doesn't have to play on the right side of midfield. I mean, you can push him up top if you want and play him as an off striker. There's some other things you could do with him, but he is definitely an attacking player, and you have to make room for him. And that's one of those things about MLS sometimes that really bothers me. And I'm not saying this is happening to Diego Fagundes because, as you mentioned, Kellen Rowe, Teal Bunbury, obviously they got Lee Wynn in that team, and
the players in front of him are actually playing well.
They have good players in front of him. But there are teams where, and I think this may be the Tommy Thompson situation in San Jose.
Don't get me started on Tommy Thompson.
But you have these guys who feel like luxuries in an MLS context. Like the teams that coaches take their rosters and they kind of throw it out there and they go, okay, what's the strongest, what's the most mentally strong and experienced and practical and can win us 1-0 games team I can put out. And then they go, okay, well, I have room for a Lee Wen here. And he obviously is an incredible passer of the ball and can score me goals. But I don't have room for a Tommy Thompson because he's a little bit more flat. He's too flash, or he's too...
And to build on that, I mean, this weekend you saw, and Bruce Arena gets a rap for being a very pragmatic coach. Very pragmatic coach. I think you'd put him up there with the more pragmatic coaches in MLS. We think that's be fair?
Yes.
Okay. But at the same time, in the last 2 weeks, he started a 19-year-old kid in Bradford Jamison. And this weekend started Maganta, which I believe that's how you say it. I believe it's Maganta, or maybe it's Maganta. I don't know. But their draft pick started both of them in a game against Colorado and sat 4 of his regular starters. So I think when I look at Dom Kinnear, I'm saying I don't understand how you can't find at least somewhere to fit him in. How is he so sure that Tommy Thompson isn't right for that team in such limited minutes he gets as a starter, when you saw last year, he was getting a lot of minutes and he was lighting or at least, I don't know if he's lighting the league up, but he captured a lot of imagination from your fan base.
Well, I think that, again, this is, okay, so Dom Kinnear is a practical coach. He's a guy who goes out and he sets his team up to win 1-0.
No, he's soccer's Lenny from Mice and Men. He's strangling this beautiful thing.
Okay, but that's his nature. What I'm saying is I think MLS breeds coaches, and I would love to see them break out of this. And we thought Caleb Porter was this guy, but the league has beaten down Caleb Porter at this point.
How did Dom Kinnear, what was he like in the club in his 20s? Like there's like 5 beautiful women and 1 girl that's like okay, and he's going to go for the one that's okay. He's not even going to waste his time with a beautiful woman.
Whoa. I don't think we can go down that road.
I'm not shooting for the stars.
What I'm saying is I think that, again, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, MLS may be less pressure than a lot of leagues, but there's still pressure to win, pressure to make the playoffs. You go about your business, and I think it's just it's a function of the job that it turns you into a practical coach.
The fan base should make a function of that job to build your young talent.
Do you know why Jose Mourinho's teams why Chelsea was like the second highest scoring team in the Premier League right now?
By an oil billionaire?
Even though Jose Mourinho's instincts are to play practical, smart soccer, that's because they have a lot of money. Exactly. They have a billionaire. They can go buy a Cesc Fabregas. MLS teams don't have that luxury. So, and he doesn't trust Tommy Thompson. He's young. He's inexperienced. There's a checklist of things that keep Dom Kinnear from taking the risk because, hey, I might lose that game because I got Tommy Thompson instead of...
Dominic Kinnear's comfort zone at some point has got to be his undoing, though. I know the guy's one of the more winging coaches in MLS. I know he's done amazing things with subpar talent numerous times. But I'd be interested to ask a Houston fan base, were you happy to watch that team every week, though? I mean, take all your I have to be loyal to my team stuff out of the window for a second. Just as a fan, were you happy every week watching that style of play? And Earthquakes fans now, are you happy watching that style of play right now?
206, you're on the air. Who's this?
Oh, hi. This is Eve from Seattle.
What's up, Eve?
It's a lady.
Yes, Jared. And I was wondering, I'm really jazzed from watching the Sounders game, and I was wondering, do you think that this is the year that the Sounders can finally get it over LA in the playoffs? Because I've been waiting for that, and Donovan is gone, and Robbie Keane is old, Steven Gerrard is old. So I was hoping that maybe this is the year.
Be careful talking about old. Have you cracked Pineda's leg? Do you count the rings inside?
But they have cover there. They have good cover. They have depth.
But they have the same team they had last year. So if this is their year, it's because the other teams have gotten worse, not because they've gotten better.
Well, you're okay. Well, that's assuming a team that plays together for another year can't get better over their previous performance. I think they could be better. Absolutely, I think they could be better as long as they keep those guys healthy. Now, remember, and Eve, this is troubling for a lot of teams around the league. The Gold Cup's going to come up, and it's going to wreck whatever momentum you have with Dempsey and Martins together. And you're probably going to lose Brad Evans because Klinsmann loves him. And you're going to have to shuffle some things back there. I think defensively they're not better right now. Not right now. But they have they have all the talent in the world to go and win a title. I don't know that this is the year because they haven't proven it yet. And they consistently fall down in the playoffs. but I don't see why it won't. It can't be the year.
It's hard to put your money on Seattle, even though what your eyes tell you. Listen, your eyes would have told you for the last couple seasons that Seattle's worth putting your money on. But at some point, do you start betting against red? It's like when I run up to a roulette table and I see the last 5 numbers have been red. It's like, oh, I need to bet red. But you start thinking at some point it's going to change, right?
You know what's interesting about our previous conversation and now you calling in is that Seattle is an example of an MLS team with a practical, American-minded coach. Let's play a double.
And players, I feel, flip him the bird every game and play with the way they want to play.
He's lucky enough to have those guys, those players who climb above that element of it in Dempsey, in Martins, in Nagel, they got it back there to allow them to transcend the base instincts of Mr. Siggy Schmidt, which I think is fascinating. And let me say it this way. I want to live in a world where Seattle can win the league. I want to live in that world. I hope that we get. It
would be a much more fun final than the finals LA plays in. And I'll say that as an LA guy. A Seattle final would be inherently more fun to watch because of the type of players and the way they want to play. I don't think they would play the pragmatic style in a cup final the way Bruce Arena. He gets the result. And there's something to be admired of that because I'm sure when those players get that bonus check in their pocket, they're loving that Bruce Arena's their coach. But on a week-to-week basis, I don't think there's a player in this league that wishes that they had a coach who would let them play with the freedom that Seattle's allowed to play with.
Eve, thanks for the call. Anything else?
No. Just great show.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for the love out in Seattle. Let's go to Daniel in Atlanta. What's up, Daniel?
Speaking of LA.
On the line because I wanted to say that's not going to happen.
Well, but at this point, no one should believe LA is the team that's going to, unless they.
You shouldn't believe any team's the team in April, in May.
I realize that. I realize May is not the time to make these assessments, but
MLS is terrible about having wire-to-wire teams.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't do that. I know this is not a league that does wire to wire. It's certainly not. It's certainly a league that a team can pop up late in the year, make the playoffs, make a run. Boom, bing, bang, boom. They're in MLS.
MLS is like Jaleel White. He looks better after he gets a little bit older. He's a late bloomer.
I feel like I fall into that category too. Daniel, what else is on your mind?
None. I just wanted to interject with that.
So you just wanted to call in and say,
hate.
Hell no, Seattle, you're not getting a title in 2015. That's what you wanted to do.
No, they're not going to get it in 2015. They're not going to get it as long as Bruce Arena is head coach and Siggy Smith are head coaches. They're not going to get it.
Wow. That's like, it's like, so I almost want to make it like the Emperor and Vader because they're both like pretty badass guys, but one of them's definitely like the one that runs the two.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
I don't know, man. Ziggy Schmidt's a good coach. I mean, I feel like as an LA fan, like I have to respect Ziggy Schmidt because he did a lot for us during a couple tough years and brought some silverware home. But yeah, I have a hard time hating on Ziggy Schmidt, except for when LA's playing him.
Do you feel like that? I mean, obviously they've gone up against each other a lot, and they're both American soccer coaching legends. Yeah. Is this it's a nemesis situation though, right? Like it's I'm sure they're like friendly off the field and everything. I've seen that, that picture our boy Fo has of them at the draft that one year.
Yeah.
Belly to belly picture. The most.
That is one of the best pictures ever. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to follow @FriendlyFo on Twitter. Every once in a while he throws it up there. And I don't know, how do you search that picture? You just do Schmid and Arena belly and maybe you'll find it?
Yeah, I've tweeted it. I mean, I've tweeted it a couple times on his behalf. It's just the most amazing.
It might be the best picture in American soccer.
I think it is. I think if we were not giving rankings to the best photographs in American soccer history, it would be that one. It would be Brady Chastain scoring the goal in '99. It would be something out, some photo of the pile.
Landon Donovan drinking from a water fountain.
Okay, well, if we want to really, oh man, we could really do this. We could go
Donovan
off the books
outside of Guadalajara.
There's no photo of that.
Yes, there is. There's a picture of that.
Oh, just from okay, you're right. Okay, so we got that.
You don't see his junk or anything, but
no. So we got that. We got the water fountain. We got all of those glamour shots or whatever those New York Times. Remember that the 90s?
Yeah, the Pablo Mastroeni one when he has like almost a bare midriff shirt kind of on.
There's definitely those. If we went off the field and we took it to the strange place. Daniel, are you feeling good about your team right now? I mean, again, Jared's right. You can't judge anybody in May. You got Steven Gerrard showing up eventually. Maybe Robbie Keane will one day be a healthy player again. What are you thinking?
That's how it is. It's just
Yeah.
2 draws, and I mean, at least he's given Maganto and Bradford some time. But I thought Bruce expected a win last night. It didn't happen, but it's May. We still have like a bunch of months left, and I'm hoping that we win another title this year.
Yeah, appreciate the
I
call.
think you saw Arena get a little too cocky last night, benching De La Garza, Juninho, Alan Gordon. There's a few guys that could have been starting in that game and maybe looking past Colorado a little bit. But I love what Maganto showed over the time he was in there. I think he was imaginative, some stuff that LA isn't really known for these days is just trying something.
Well,
so I was stoked to see him play.
The nature of MLS, and this is why it's an indictment of Dom Kinnear that he doesn't play Tommy Thompson. Bruce Arena has an understanding that, hey, look, yeah, I want a home win against Colorado. That's 3 points I probably need at some point down the road. But this is still MLS, and this team is still good enough to make the playoffs come the end of the year. So why not either, if you could view it as resting if you want, but why not take an opportunity to get some other guys in there, discover what his depth is before he goes into the summer, before things start getting crazy with Gold Cup call-ups, and he can actually then, navigate that area of the season a little bit better than a team who didn't flesh out their depth, who didn't give a shot to a younger player who doesn't have a whole lot of experience.
So real quick, not to spend too much time on LA. So Dallas bounces back with a big win this week after maybe a couple weeks we weren't so sure. But across the board, if we did a Jason Davis power ranking, what's your most dangerous or impressive? Like, what's the best team in MLS right now for you?
Man, see, again, I mean, this is difficult. I think we were sort of handed that mantle to the Red Bulls because they hadn't lost a game, and then they go.
I didn't. You did.
I know. They obviously lost. They got beat by the Revs this weekend. Dallas looks, again, as you said, Dallas looks really, really good. Fabian Castillo is one of my favorite players in MLS. I love watching that guy play.
Yep.
He is a lightning bolt in a uniform. DC,
so Benny Feilhaber was paying tribute to him.
Maybe. DC United should get some love for this top ranking spot. I'm not saying that they're the best team to watch. I'm not saying that they are.
It's like my Red Bulls thing. It's just like if I can't stand to watch them, how are they the best team?
But they scored some nice goals this weekend.
Okay.
They've got Fabian Espindola back, which makes them a different, more dynamic.
That's part of my reason why I think between him and Eddie Johnson, they got two of the more polarizing guys that I can't stand.
I love Fabian.
To watch. And they're on the same. Well, obviously EJ now left the league, and good wishes to him. But Espindola is still there, and if he was on my team, he's Alan Gordon territory. If he's not on your team, it's like, screw that guy. Okay. But when he's on your team, it's like, oh, I can see it. Yeah, but it's hard for me to root for Espindola.
Let's see. I'm going
to give you two teams that you didn't name that I think are vying out for this right now. New England Revolution, Seattle. And I think it's a 2-horse race right now.
I was getting there. I think you're right. I think those are the top two teams in MLS. And what is it that draws your eye about them? What makes them...
goals.
Goals.
And not just that, but the same thing I love so much about LA last year is goals from quality possession.
Yeah. Team goals.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Well-worked team goals. I know when my fullback's overlapping. I know when my forward's going to drift into space wide. I know that there's going to be a cutback opportunity at the top of the box because
I trust my teammate enough to give him a pass in traffic and have the 1-2 touch ability to distribute and find the right player. It's teams that are willing to unlock teams. That's the difference. And you can say what you want about other teams that maybe play long ball or stuff like that. You're hoping when you do that.
Yes.
Teams that say we're going to dominate, and teams that play this way have a tendency to force their style upon you. And that's impressive to me when you can force your style upon another team. LA had it last year. Seattle and New England have it this year.
I think that's right. I like the... and Seattle has a little bit of this because Obi-Femi Martins can certainly hit you with his speed a little bit. And if you have the guy to get him the ball, he's dangerous that way. He can create a goal one-on-one by himself. But I like the variation here that we have with New England, a team that's certainly capable of combinations, 1 and 2 touch passing right there in the final third to create goals and find space. Boom, boom, boom. You're done. And then if you put FC Dallas in this group, and I definitely think FC Dallas is going to be in the top group of teams for most of the year, depending on how injuries and everything plays out, they take the ball and they go. Like that's what they want to do. They want to take the ball and go. They may get it wide. They may look for Perez. They may find other ways to get goals. It's not just going to be on breakaways and counterattacks, but that they move quickly with the ball, and I like watching them for that reason. So this is what we want. We want variation.
Dempsey and Martin's no doubt best tandem in the league right now.
I can't see anybody else even close.
Yeah, I mean, we lost the Keane Donovan dynamic that was probably up there with them, and now with that gone, I don't see anyone even in the same category. I don't.
I mean, you could make an argument that, and Blas Perez is not the skilled player that any of that foursome are, but you could make an argument that between Blas Perez and Fabian Castillo, that's as dangerous.
Yeah, but do you see them dangerous with each other, or just both dangerous people on the same team?
That's what it is. You're right. It's when you watch Martins and Dempsey play with each other, it's that ESP, that the connection that they have to set each other up, and because they're just ballers. And the same thing happened with Donovan and Keane. They had a higher level of understanding.
Yeah.
And you're right. Blas Perez is going to do his thing. Fabian Castillo is going to do his thing, but they're not going to necessarily combine to do that. And I made this argument before. We're running rapidly out of time. But I think that if you bring a high-level DP in, a guy who's got incredible experience and skill, like a David Villa, for example, you have got to, and this is why signing Frank Lampard's a good thing, you've got to have at least one other player on the field with him who is on his level, because that's the only way you're going to maximize that ability, is to have a guy who can think at the same speed, because that's what it is. That's the difference between MLS quality soccer and Premier League quality soccer. It's not just the skill and the touches and first touch and bring the ball down. It's at the speed at which these players think. And
so what you're saying is that Bradley Wright Phillips needed an Henry.
I think so. I mean, I'm not saying Bradley Wright.
I'm trying to put Bradley Wright Phillips in as world class or anything.
No. I'm not putting him on that level, but I think he was.
But Henry struggled at times. He didn't have that big player with him. Can you ever remember him having that big name player with him? No. They never invested in that second guy. Whereas you see Obafemi and Dempsey, you would like to think that Altidore and Giovinco over the course of this streak. How have we not talked about Giovinco yet?
I know. I look. We had the aborted start, and we are literally out of time now. But we should mention Giovinco's free kick goal to beat Philadelphia. I don't think it was a great game from TFC by any stretch, but now they've won 2 in a row. They go back. They play their first home match of the year this coming weekend against Houston, Jared. So they finally get to be back in their friendly confines, and it's an expanded stadium at BMO Field. And Giovinco, I was thinking about this. Maybe it seems longer because he's little. Like if you measured that goal in Giovinco's in the length, it's going to be like double that of
a unit of measurement now.
If a Giovinco is a unit of measurement, that's like a 40 Giovinco free kick. No.
But you think about, let's spin TFC for a second.
20 Giovincos.
7 games played, all on the road, 3-4. Okay, 11 goals for, 11 goals against. The only thing that's really hurting right now is their defense. I mean, that's the other teams ahead of them. Right now, they're 5th in the East. The other teams ahead of them have been giving up 8, 6, 8, and 8. Okay, their defense is hurting them. They've actually scored more goals than DC United this year. You were just talking about score goals. So TFC's actually scored more one less game than these, and they played one less game than all these other teams as well.
No, I didn't say DC United scores goals. I'm saying they're an effective team. I think that's
so. It's a hard thing to judge with Toronto right now, being all on the road, and it's interesting. You really have to have a grain of salt, more than maybe we're giving them so far to start the season.
I think it is true that Toronto's gotten more criticism than they probably deserve. And that same thing goes for Greg Vanney. We cannot judge them. We can't judge anybody because it's May. We can't judge TFC because they haven't even played a home match yet. And because they've had some injuries and because they've had some call-ups that have affected who has been available for them, if they get that thing humming from Bradley up, they're going to be one of the top 6 teams in the East. I have no doubts about that. They do need to sort out their defense, but they have too much talent to be left behind by everybody. They're not as good as New England. They're not as good as New York, probably. Over the course of the full season. They're, who else? They're maybe not as good as Columbus, but not that far behind. They're not as good as DC United because they grind.
It's just hard to tell. It's hard to tell. My eyes want to tell me Columbus is better, but they've also been able to play home games. Yeah, and that means something. It really does, because a lot of teams would be 500 goals for and goals against on the road. Across the bulk of their away games over the course of the season. So I'm not saying being at home fixes their defense, but I think being at home definitely gives them a different level to play with. And what I will say, what that 11 goals against is going to really says is even Michael Bradley dropping as deep as he does can't fix the problems that are there for TFC in the back. Michael Bradley is having to drop way too deep and do too much work for Toronto in the back that they're not getting what they really need to get out of Michael Bradley. And that's distribution, ball movement, and contributing to the attack late.
Apologies if we did not talk about your team today. We didn't really we touched on Benny Feilhaber and his hair. Sporting Kansas City with a win, so good for them. See, we didn't really touch on RSL and San Jose playing to a draw with a bad call, an offside goal that should not have been allowed. That really hurt RSL. We didn't even talk about Montreal losing in the CONCACAF Champions League, and we're not. You mentioned Portland, despite the fact we mentioned.
I didn't talk about the result.
No, I actually did that. That's my fault. All right, we're out of time. Jared's got to run.
We don't talk 0-0s. We don't talk 0-0s.
We'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. All right. Soccer Morning, Sirius XM tomorrow. 9 o'clock for the web show. See ya.
I'm Epic Win. Get to the chopper! Duh and or hello. Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
I am Mikkel Morsen and Paulson Diskere.
Playing hot dogs and donuts with two fangirls in the locker room.
Damn, dog, that's in a pro.